Welcome to my PowerPoint on the best one-mana minions. Starting with Death Knight, this is every one-mana minion that's come out in Death Knight since the class has been released. We have not received a single new Death Knight card since the class has come out. It is Body Bagger, Noxious Cadaver, Skeletal Sidekick, and Yrmir Frostbreaker. Yeah, I'm not pronouncing that. Body Bagger is a Dire Mole, 1 mana 1/3, with a tribe, undead, that has a relatively decent battlecry, and battlecry gain a corpse. Noxious Cadaver is a 1 mana 2/2 undead with battlecry, deal 2 damage to an enemy and your hero. Skeletal Sidekick is a 1 mana 1/2 undead with battlecry, give a friendly minion +2 attack, or friendly undead +2 attack. And Yrmir Frostbreaker is a 1 mana 1 frost rune 1/2 battlecry, gain +1 attack for each frost spell in your hand. Body Bagger has seen some play in Standard, but I don't see the card ever anymore. Like, ever in Standard anymore. Same with Cadaver. I've never seen these cards in Standard. They're obviously unplayable in Wild because, well, they're not even costed. And then Skeletal Sidekick actually was quite good. There was like an Aggro Frost list that existed in Standard last year that made great use of Skeletal Sidekick and like Hawkstride Rancher, stuff like that. And it was actually really interesting. The deck was really fun to play. Skeletal Sidekick, in theory, is a very powerful card. It's a 1 mana 1/2, give an undead +2 attack, and it's permanent. It's like Abusive Sergeant, but better, but only for undeads, of course. It genuinely has a lot of potential to be a very powerful card in the future, so I think that is a card to watch out for, but I mean, Death Knight, their 1-drops are not great. They're pretty bad overall, and there's only 4 of them. And they haven't had a single new one in 6 expansions. Well, I guess 5 expansions, but still, it's not great. So let's move on to some classes that do have good 1-drops, like Demon Hunter. So, of course, we have to talk about Patches the Pilot. This card is so broken. 1 mana, 1/1, Demon Pirate, Battlecry, shuffle 6 parachutes into your deck that summon a 1/1 pirate with charge when drawn. So we already know that the 1/1 pirates from like Sigil of Skydiving are not balanced. So imagine that you get all of them in your deck for patches, and you just get to play patches on one. It is a pirate, so it pulls your other patches, it gets buffed by Distributor, it pulls your Parachute Brigand, so it's already great in that end. But getting the 1/1 parachutes is really nice because you run cards like Magnifying Glaive, which draws you a lot of cards all at once, so you can get that from your glaive. The parachutes being free helps your Kurtrus, or helps your Ziliax, or helps your Crag, depending on like how you're building your Pirate Demon Hunter deck. It's just so powerful. It's really so powerful. And to top it all off, it's really, really strong in Questline Demon Hunter. Questline Demon Hunter runs this card because, well, they already are drawing a million cards, but because of the way that the parachutes work, if you draw a parachute, it counts as drawing an additional card for the quest. So it's just really, really good. It's really, really good, even. Patches the Pilot has just been so powerful for Demon Hunter. I doubt that it will get nerfed, I'm going to be honest with you, but it's night and day difference, Demon Hunter, before and after this card was printed. I'm being so serious right now. Honorable mention to Sock Puff and Slither Spear. This card's really strong if you can get it, like, to work, but it's kind of just not that consistent. It's also not a pirate, so, yeah. Then we have Druid. So I think that Druid has a pretty close tie between its best 1-drops in Vibrant Squirrel, which is a 1 mana 2/1 beast with Death Rattle. Shuffle 4 acorns into your deck. When drawn, summon a 2/1 squirrel. Basically the same as Patch the Pilot, except worse. It's also not a legendary, but yeah. And then Druid of the Reef, which is a 1 mana 1/1, choose one, transform into a 3/1 shark with rush, or a 1/3 turtle with taunt. Both of these cards have been exemplary. In addition to Oracle of Elune, which is a 3 mana 2/4, after you summon a minion that costs 2 or less, summon a copy of it. Or actually, it's after you play a minion, summon a copy of it. So Vibrant Squirrel can discount your Frost Saver Matriarchs, which is a 7 mana 4/5 with taunt. Costs 1 less for each beast that you've played this game. I think that's the exact wording. So it's really great at discounting that. That can also then cost less than 2, so it can be doubled up by Oracle of Elune. Man, Oracle of Elune is a really strong card. Druid of the Reef is really powerful because, well, it's not like a beast or a taunt minion or anything like that on its own, but it transforms into that stuff. So it won't use up like buffs that get like that. Like, say, in the past, you would run, oh god, it was like it was a 2 mana, 2/3 that said your first taunt minion each turn costs 2 less. So if you ran it with that card, it wouldn't eat up the buff from that, so you could play Druid of the Reef in the same turn as another taunt minion. It was just, it's nice. Druid of the Reef also, of course, is really good to get, or to double off the work of a Loon. It's just really powerful. It's almost like a 1 mana 1/3 taunt is really good. A 1 mana 3/1 with Rush is just really good. Whoever could have guessed that? If we are talking about, like, all-time best 1-drops, though, it's not either of these. It is most definitely Wolpertinger. Wolpertinger now is 2 mana, but at the time it was a 1 mana 1/1, spell burst, summon a Wolpertinger. That's it. And man, was it good. You would just have, like, turn 1s where you'd play a billion spells on turn 1, you would get, like, a full board of 3/3s, and you won the game. And it was degenerate, don't get me wrong. I'm not surprised Wolpertinger has never been reverted at all. Not surprised at all. It is definitely not a fair or balanced card in any way, but it makes sense for this video. But it's not 1 mana anymore, so I can't really talk about it. Then we have Hunter. So I will say this up and down forever, that the Hunter's best 1-drops are 1/1s that draw you cards. Yes, you can play things like Wolpertinger, and Wolpertinger is a fine 1-drop, don't get me wrong, but Wolpertinger requires a lot of setup to make work properly, and it's just not worth it. I'm gonna be real with you. Every deck that, like, wants to run Wolpertinger is bad. Like, unlike decks that want to run Costume Singer or Trinket Tracker, which are good. Lion Hunter runs Trinket Tracker. Sometimes it can run Costume Singer, depending on the build of the deck, but it always runs Trinket Tracker. Trinket Tracker is just so unbelievably powerful. A lot of Hunter's best cards right now in the game are 1 mana spells. Obviously, Tracking, Play Dead, Carrion Studies, all so powerful for, like, in buffing up your Lion Hunter. Fetch is also 1 mana, and then, I mean, again, a lot of Hunter's most powerful cards are also secrets, so you can get things like Bargain Bin, Hidden Meaning, Snipe, Zombies, Wandering Monster, etc., etc., off of your Costume Singer, and it's great. Costume Singer, of course, is a Mage card as well, however, it's a lot better in Hunter than it is in Mage. It's not that it's bad in Mage, it's just that Secret Mage is unplayable garbage, compared to Hunter, which it isn't unplayable, so this also says a lot because Costume Singer is nerfed. It used to be a 2/1. But it was nerfed because of Standard, and that's sad. That is a very sad thing. Well, I was going to go to Mage anyway. So then we have Mage, and Mage it's Mana Worm. It's Mana Worm. Mana Worm used to be really fucking good. It's gone through a long history. It used to be the exact text we have now, and then it was nerfed, and then they reprinted it in Vicious Slither Spear, which is just 1 mana 1/3 Naga. After you cast a spell, gain +1 attack till the start of your next turn, I think. I don't remember the exact wording. And then they reverted it, and now Mana Worm is back on top. There's a Rayla Mage where it's like Flame Wakers and a bunch of really cheap spells to make your Mana Worms work, and it's actually quite good. Mana Worm has really risen back from the dead. It's like a phoenix risen from the ashes, and I'm happy. I like Mana Worm. Mana Worm is like a really iconic card. People like this card, and it's very, very, very nice that it's actually playable again. Honorable mention to Cabal Lackey. Unnerfed Cabal Lackey I would actually say is probably better than Mana Worm, but the nerf version is definitely worse. So yeah. I'm having a blast playing this Tempo Mage that is out right now. If you haven't seen it, look up like Copper Scum on Twitter. He's probably posted a billion like different lists, a billion different statistics for it. He is like the guy that like I think popularized it. I mean, if you don't know who Copper is at this point and you're playing Wild Hearthstone, I don't know what you're doing. I'm gonna be so real with you. But yeah, I love Mana Worm. This is the first fun Mage deck in the last like 8 years. Maybe not 8, but it's the first fun Mage deck in the last few years, and it's off the back of Mana Worm, so yeah. It's obviously degenerate, like, obviously, but what Wild deck isn't kind of degenerate? I have to be honest with you. Lion Hunter's very degenerate, even though I like it. A lot of decks I like are degenerate, but everyone's favorite decks are degenerate, so skill issue. Paladin. It's Righteous Protector. Nothing else even comes close. Righteous Protector has been the best 1-drop in Paladin for the last 7 years, and it will be the best 1-drop in Paladin unless they print something better. It's incredibly simple. 1 mana, 1/1, taunt, divine shield. That's it. It's incredibly simple. It's incredibly effective. It's just really good. It's amazing off of Call to Arms. It's really good to play on turn 1. It's really good to play on like turn a billion. It's amazing with hand buff. It's just to even like suggest that there's a 1-drop in Paladin that's better than Righteous Protector is blatantly wrong in my opinion. And that still comes when we have cards like Knight of Anointment, which are one mana, 1/1 draw Holy Spell. And I already talked about how good Trinket Tracker is, and Holy Spells are really good in Paladin. The issue is that Righteous Protector would probably still be really, really good in Hunter as well. Like, if it were just straight up 1 mana, 1/1 Taunt Divine Shield, it would probably still be really good in Hunter. Probably still, like, that's how good Righteous Protector is, right? That even though we have a very solid and direct comparison between, like, alternative 1-drops, it still probably would be just really good in Hunter. Righteous Protector, everyone. I mean, if you've played Paladin in the last 7 years, you know that Righteous Protector is really good. Like, the only decks that don't really run Righteous Protector are decks that kind of can't, because they're like Call to Arms and they need like specifically like some Uther Paladin lists. But I mean, it's not that great. Uther Paladin's not that great. Or like even Paladin doesn't run it. Or like Mech Paladin doesn't run it, right? So it's basically in fucking everything. It's in like hand buff lists. It's in like everything, man. It's in everything. It's just so powerful. Then we have Priest. So I will die on this hill that Ship's Chirurgeon is a more impactful card and a more powerful card than Void Touch Attendant. Void Touch Attendant, of course, is the 1 mana 1/3. Both heroes take 1 extra damage from all sources, right? Really, really powerful. Do not get me wrong. However, all it does is make you do more damage. Ship's Chirurgeon breaks like the fucking weakness of the class. 1 mana 1/2, Dragon Pirate. After you summon a minion, give it +1 health. Let me paint you a picture. You're playing an aggro deck that likes to go wide on board. What is the absolute worst thing your opponent can do on like turn 3? Play removal and you lose your entire board. But if you play a 1 mana card that gives all your minions +1 health, wow, it's almost like their removal breakpoint doesn't work anymore. So that you can just fucking kill them. And it didn't matter. Like, doing more damage doesn't matter if you don't have any minions to deal that damage. Ship's Chirurgeon fundamentally breaks the game. It just does. Like, fundamentally, aggro decks should not have cards like Ship's Chirurgeon or Totemic Might, and I've said this a billion times. They should not have cards that give health this efficiently, this cheap, this strong. They just shouldn't. It's not fair for removal, like decks that run removal, to be punished for running removal. That's not healthy for the game. It just isn't. It doesn't matter if Shadow Priest isn't the best pirate deck right now, because the broken part about Pirate Demon Hunter is that it also ignores removal. Oh my god, guys. Wow, whoever could have guessed this? Ignoring removal is really fucking strong in aggro decks. It really is. So, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, Void Touch 10 is strong, but Ship's Chirurgeon, it's just a better card. It just is. It just is. Then we have Rogue. So this is like an actual toss-up, in my opinion, between Prize Plunderer, 1 mana 2/1 pirate, combo, deal 1 damage to a minion for each other card you've played this turn, or Jolly Roger, 1 mana 1/3 undead pirate, after a hero attack, summon a 1/1 undead pirate. Both of these cards are insane. Insane. I'd argue top 5 1-drops in the entire game, both of these. However, it's hard to gauge which one is better. Prize Plunderer is played in more decks. It used to see play in Miracle Rogues, and probably would in a current Miracle Rogue list if you were trying to make one, since you don't play Pack and Null anymore. But it saw a lot of play in Miracle Rogue lists, and it's just unbelievably efficient removal. You play like 3 cards before it, and then it's a 1 mana 2/1 deal 4 damage to a minion, or a 3 damage to a minion, that you can also Shadow Step to deal even more damage. It's just unbelievably efficient. Unbelievably efficient. So strong. But it's not that great on turn 1. It's okay. It's a 1 mana 2/1 that will summon your patches and maybe a Brigand if you have nothing better, right? It's a fine, but it's not great. That's where Jolly Roger comes in. This card is way better as a tempo card. 1 mana, 1/3, so it's already a Dire Mole that has a really strong effect of, after your hero attacks, summon a 1/1 Undead Pirate. Both of those buff your treasure distributor. Both of those fire cannon shots from your ship's cannon. So, yeah. Plus, you're playing Rogue, so you always can have a weapon on turn 2 if you need it. Or, you're playing Pirate Rogue, so you always have a 3 mana 4/3 weapon. I guess sometimes you could not have a 4/3, it could be a 2/3, but it's almost always going to be 4/3, which is great. It's amazing. Jolly Roger also helps if you're running Zilliax by a significant amount, because not only does it benefit from Zilliax more than Prize Plunder because it has 2 bodies, it also helps your Zilliax more because it has 2 bodies and discounts it more. Jolly Roger also draws you more cards off of Toy Boat. So, like, yes, Prize Plunder is unbelievably efficient as removal. It's one of the best removal cards in the entire game. However, Jolly Roger is unbelievable tempo that just hyper synergizes with all of the pirate cards in Rogue. So that's why I genuinely think it's a toss-up, right? I think Jolly Roger is slightly edging out Prize Plunderer, but Prize Plunderer gets better in metas where there are cards that are kind of mid-sized that you have to kill. You have to kill them, right? Or against giants, where, I mean, if you kill a giant with Prize Plunderer, that's crazy. I don't know how the fuck you did that, but it's still really nice. Then we have Shaman. So Shaman is a bit awkward because, yes, Shaman has some pretty good 1-drops, but they're not really night and day good compared to the not so great Shaman 1-drops. Is kind of how I feel. So bear with me. Tunnel Trog has to be in the conversation for a minute here because of just how unbelievably strong it was in Shaman at its time. The issue is its time is 7 years ago, and it hasn't really done anything in the last 6 or 7 years, so it's kind of just an honorable mention. Novice Zapper has been a staple in Nature Shaman since it's existed, and is and will be basically. Novice Zapper will be a staple in Burn Shamans from now until forever. It's just so strong. It's 1 mana for +1 spell damage. The overload doesn't really matter. The 3/2 body doesn't really matter. It's a 1 mana minion with 1 spell damage. Wow. Who could have imagined that would be good? It's almost like they gave the same thing to Druid, but even better, because it's a location with 1 spell damage. That also doesn't overload you. Yeah, it's really strong. Novice Zapper will be consistently one of the best 1-drops in Shaman from now until forever. As long as we get, Burn Shamans, it's just going to see play, especially in Standard. And then we have Murloc Grofin. So Murloc Grofin is very interesting. It's Wolpertinger, but better in every way. Every single way it's better than Wolpertinger, because it has Rush. And it gives you an 8/8 that summons an 8/8 with Rush. So it's really strong. Really, really, really strong. It's pretty good on turn 1. It gets better and better if you have buffs like Turbulus. And because of it summons minions, if you play a Shutterwalk Shell that's all about time warping your opponent by playing Lotheb, Bully, and what's it called? Rena Lone Ranger, then you time warp your opponent. They can't really play any cards, and you build a gigantic board of 6/6 Murlocs and your Shutterwalk, and you kill your opponent, and it's really, really good. Yeah, Murloc Grofin is fucking crazy as a card. This card is insane in what it does. It does so much as a card. It's one of the most overloaded cards ever, and it's just kind of good. Yeah. How does a card that has this many effects just end up as a pretty good card? Yeah, it's just pretty good. I mean, I wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't say it's crazy. I'm gonna be honest with you. I wouldn't say it's a crazy card. It does so much. It's Wolpertinger, that one of the summons has Rush, and it has Gigantify. What the hell? It's so much better than Wolpertinger, and it's a Murloc. But Murlocs fucking suck. So yeah. Then we have Warlock. Warlock is actually really interesting to talk about because Warlock has a lot of really good 1-drops. Surprisingly. Warlock is a class that you probably wouldn't expect this with. Kobold Librarian has been ran in basically every single Warlock deck that can run it for the last 7 years. So, basically, not even Warlocks and maybe Darkest Hour. Yeah. Every Warlock deck wants to be running Kobold Librarian. It's a 1 mana 2/1 Battlecry, draw a card, deal 2 damage to your hero. Really strong. It's just really, really strong. It's great. I don't know where to say about it. It just draws you a card, it damages your hero, and it's a body. It has synergy with a lot of different decks, and just 1 mana, 2/1, draw a card. Really, really strong. Flame Imp has also been an iconic minion because it's been in every single aggro like Zoo Warlock deck for the last 10 years. In Standard. It fell off in Wild. It used to be good in Wild, but it kind of fell off. You used to run it even in Discard Warlock in Wild because it was so strong, and like you had like Canrathad to like discount your demons. But over time, Discard Warlock got more specialized, being only flavored toward discard, so it has fallen off. But in Standard, there has never been a Zoo Warlock in Standard, as far as I can tell, that doesn't want to be running Flame Imp. Maybe Sludge Warlock, you could say, but I still think that you should have been running Flame Imp, personally, because it was just such strong turn 1. 1 mana, 3/2 demon, Battlecry, deal 3 damage to your hero. It's great with self-damage effects. It's overstated. It's just been in everything. It's been in every Zoo Warlock deck for the last 10 years. What card can ever say that they've been in every deck of an archetype for the last 10 years? What card? I'm being serious. What card can say that? For 10 years. 10. Maybe Prep in Miracle Road. And that's about it. Actually, yeah, definitely Prep in Miracle Road. You could say that as well. Yeah, I can see that. Malchezaar's Imp. I mean, 1 mana, 1/3 demon. Whenever you discard a card, draw a card. It is Discard Warlock. Discard Warlock would not exist in the functionality that we see it now without Malchezaar's Imp. This card is just so strong. It's one of the best draw cards ever printed. One of the best 1-drops ever printed. It has completely warped the game. Whenever Discard Warlock is strong, it is because of Malchezaar's Imp. So it does warp the game, and it's gross. I don't know what else to say. Discard Warlock has been Z tier multiple times in the last like 2 years. It's because of Malchezaar's Imp. It just is. And then, and certainly not least, we have Party Fiend. This is from the newest expansion, Perils in Paradise, so, you know, it could not be that good as future goes, but in Standard currently, this is like fucking disgusting. It's 1 mana, 3/3. It's not actually. But it's 1 mana, 1/1 demon. Summon 2 1/1 Fell Beasts. Deal 3 damage to your hero. So it's 1 mana, 3/3 in stats. With an upside, because it's deal 3 damage to your hero. I know it sounds like a downside to take damage, but in Warlock, it's not. They have a lot of healing. They have a lot of ways to benefit from taking damage. So it discounts your Molten Giants by 3. It discounts your Imprisoned Horrors by 3. And it's just a lot of stats. It fights for board. And it's so well at fighting for board. Because it's 1 mana, 3/1/1s. Dude, if they put this card in Hunter, holy shit. Could you imagine? It'd be so nice. It would be so nice. Party Fiend is really strong. The issue with Party Fiend in Wild is that because it's not all one token, it's 2 different tokens, which means that it's not good with Raise Dead. And Raise Dead has been also a card that has seen play in every single Warlock deck. I don't think there's a single Warlock. I genuinely do not think there's a single Warlock deck that has not run Raise Dead since it came out in 2020. I'm being serious right now. Like, I cannot think of a single one. What Warlock deck doesn't want to run Raise Dead is like a better question, right? It's if you don't know what Raise Dead is, it's 0 mana, take 3 damage to get, and then add 2 minions that have died this game to your hand. Shadow Spell, it's Priest and Warlock. Priest also loves that card. Priest runs that in everything as well. It's almost like Raise Dead's really strong, and it's really, really fucking staple for the class. I'm gonna make a video soon about like staple cards that always see play in classes. I just have to come up with like a good title. That's why I haven't done it yet. I'm gonna be real with you. And Raise Dead, obviously gonna go in that. I'm just telling you guys now. Party Fiend though, it is just really strong in Standard currently, and I think like as time goes on, there's a potential for this card. Is like if we get more and more powerful Pain Warlock support, you'll want a card like this because it's just really good. Especially if we get better ways to buff in Warlock, like buff your board. Because we have a Discard Warlock 1 mana spell that buffs your whole board in Wicked Whispers. We have a Death Rattle Warlock card that buffs your whole board in Grim Rally. So it feels like eventually we're going to have a Pain Warlock card that buffs your whole board. So I like, and Party Fiend would synergize so well with that card. And then we have Warrior. Although Warrior has some pretty good aggressive 1-drops, nothing else will ever match Risky Skipper. Risky Skipper is so unbelievably powerful as a 1-drop that it's been meta-defining in Standard. It's crafted its own archetypes around it. It's just... I don't know how to describe Risky Skipper without just saying it's one of the best cards ever printed. I cannot describe it any better. It is a 1-mana 1/3 pirate. After you play a minion, deal 1 damage to all minions. So incredibly simple. But it comes with Enrage and Warrior, and Warrior having a lot of benefits from cards taking 1 damage at a time. You have Armorsmith, which will is 2-mana 1/4. After a friendly minion takes damage, gain 1 armor. You have Razorfen Rockstar, which is 1-mana 1/3 Quillbore. After you gain armor, gain 2 more. So it synergizes super well with that. You have like Frothing Berserker, which came out in Classic, which is a 3-mana 2/4. After a minion takes damage, gain +1 attack. You have like, it's just so good. There's Anima Extractor, I want to call it, is a 2-mana 1/4 undead. After a friendly minion takes damage, give a minion in your hand +1/+1, which was again really good with Risky Skipper. There's just so many good cards to synergize with Risky Skipper. Skipper is Warrior. Skipper is Warrior in Wild. Rarely are there Warrior decks in Wild that are playable that are not Skipper decks. It doesn't happen very often, and like, Skipper just is Warrior. It just is. And it's really funny also because Skipper is a combo deck, and I feel like some people don't realize that. Like, Skipper is a combo deck. Just because you're gaining 1 billion armor doesn't mean it's not a combo deck. That just was your combo. In the same sense that Lion Hunter is a combo deck, even if you're not OTKing your opponent, like, combo decks don't have to be OTK decks. I don't know why people don't realize that. Like, I've had so many people argue with me that Skipper Warrior isn't a combo deck. I'm like, you're just fucking wrong. You're just fucking wrong. Like, I'm sorry. You're just fucking stupid. And then we have neutral cards. These two are obvious. These two are so obvious. I even spoke about them earlier in the video. It's Treasure Distributor and Patches the Pirate. Treasure Distributor, if you don't know, is a 1-mana 1/2 pirate with after you summon a pirate, give it and this minion +1 attack. And Patches the Pirate, 1-mana 1/1 demon pirate. After you play a pirate, summon this minion from your deck. Patches has been arguably, if not the best card in the entire game for the last 8 years. It just has been. It just has been. And it was nerfed 7 years ago because it used to have Charge. The best keyword in the entire game. And it hasn't had it for 7 years. It might be actually closer to 6 years, but still, it hasn't had the best keyword in the entire game for like 6 or 7 years, and it's still the best card in the entire game. Thinning your deck, summoning a 1/1, pirate synergies, all in one card, and it happens on turn 1. The most important turn in the entire game for an aggro deck is turn 1. So, it's no surprise that Patches the Pirate is broken. It's no surprise that Treasure Distributor is broken, because it also summons your patches. It buffs your patches, and then it itself gains +1 attack. And, because they're all pirates, they summon Parachute Brigand, which is a 2-mana 2/2 pirate. After you play a pirate, summon this minion from your hand. Which, again, gets buffed, becomes a 3/2, and then buffs your Treasure Distributor to also be a 3/2. 3/2, 3/2, 2/1 on turn 1. 8/5 in stats on turn 1. And people don't understand why I always say that pirates are by far the best tribe in the game and nothing else comes close. Every single class in the entire game, if they want to, can run Treasure Distributor, Parachute Brigand, and Patches the Pirate because they're all neutral cards and have an opening hand that is 8/5 in stats on turn 1. This doesn't even include other classes that have powerful additions to this. You could play Churgeon to give all of these +1 health. Yeah, I guess technically the patches wouldn't gain attack, but you know, who cares? They would gain +1 health, which is better than attack. Health is better than attack on minions like those. Shocking, I know. You have Sigil of Skydiving in Demon Hunter, where because you just summoned 8-5 in fucking stats on turn 1, it's not as big of a deal that you do absolutely nothing for your turn 2. And if you have that opener, Distributor and they all live until turn 3, if you drop Hosen on turn 3, that is 30 damage on turn 3. Exactly 30 damage. You can deal 30 damage to your opponent on turn 3 with 4 cards. 4 cards. On turn 3. 4 cards. In Demon Hunter. How unbelievably balanced. You could also do that with Adrenaline Fiend. Adrenaline Fiend is also really good, especially because you can also hero power, so you can deal even more damage. But it's not as funny to talk about as Hosen, because I like to hate on Hosen because Hosen's really broken. But yes, you can also do it with Adrenaline Fiend if you really want to. It's still really good. Yeah, pirates are just not balanced. They're not even remotely balanced. No tribe in the game is even remotely close in power level to pirates. It's just unfair. It is just unfair. Although Animated Broomstick and Sir Finley Seaguy don't want to be played on turn 1, they're still 1-mana cards. They're still 1-mana minions, of course, and they're still unbelievably powerful. Animated Broomstick is a 1-mana 1/1 with Rush, and Battlecry give your other minions Rush. This card has seen so much play since it came out in Skullman's Academy 4 years ago. It's seen play in Paladin, it's seen play in Warlock, it's seen play in Warrior. It's just been really, really good. It's mainly seeing play in Warlock right now because of, well, 0-mana Giants and 0-mana 4/4s, so giving them Rush is really good. Especially because, well, you want to kill your minions off in Warlock anyway, so you can Raise Dead them. Oh, Raise Dead mentioned. Yeah. Animated Broomstick just does so much. If you have like a bunch of Molten Giants and a bunch of Flesh Giants, a bunch of Prison Horrors, all of them cost 0. You give them all Rush so they can actually fight for board. It's just so powerful. And then Sir Finley Sea Guide is a 1-mana 1/3 Murloc. Battlecry, swap your hand with the bottom of your deck. It is not technically card draw because you're not going positive on cards. However, if you have a bad hand or you're desperately looking for something, Finley is just 1 mana to swap your hand out for potentially saving you and not losing the game. Finley is so strong, genuinely. Like, almost every slow deck in the game runs Finley. Like Shaman runs Finley, Warrior runs Warrior runs Finley, Priest runs Finley, Hunter runs Finley, Paladin runs Finley. So many classes run Sir Finley Sea Guide. It's just really, really, really good. It's really efficient. It's almost like drawing a lot of cards. Even if you're not adding to your hand, just seeing more cards because you had a bad hand is really good. Like, there are cases where playing Finley on 1 is fine as well. Like, if you just have a really bad opening hand and you're like, dude, I can't play the game with this. I need something into aggro. It is fine to play Finley. It also will help you fight forward because it's still a 1/3. But typically, you're playing Finley on, like, your kind of later turns, and you're gonna, like, effectively draw, like, 5 or 6 cards on average, and it's just really good. It's just really good. Especially in classes that don't have a lot of card draw. Or in classes like Hunter that are good at generating like shitty cards that can become fuel for Finley to actually actively draw you cards. Like, say you play a bunch of bananas in Hunter, right? You play 2 of the bananas and you have 1 banana left and you just play Finley and it just goes to your bottom of your deck. You'll never see it again. It's not important. Doesn't matter. It's out of the picture. It's out of mind, out of sight. And then you just got a better card instead. It's really nice. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. If you guys enjoy, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you think down below. Are there any 1-drops on this video that you really like? Anyone that you really hate? Are there any 1-drops that you think I should have mentioned instead? Are there any 1-drops that you wish were better? Hunter. Tell me what you think down below. I like making videos like this where I get to just talk about a really broad subject that I like to talk about, which is, you know, 1-drops. 1-drops are an important topic in this game, and it's a lot of fun. I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Subscribe. Make sure to subscribe. Goodbye. Peace out.
Shadows are rising again!
Darker than they've ever been. As evil descends from the skies, the world cries out, how will we survive? Out of the hall of explorers, and up from the dusty tomb. They grab their whips and fedoras. These legends of the past know exactly what to do.